Lodi Rabbi Isai. We have some Mazel Tovs and we have some Refuah Shlemos. First of all, we have big Mazel Tov to Rabbi Yaakov Schwartzberg. Berg. That's what I said by mistake. Seriously. Mazal Tov, Mazal Tov. Is that Rishon? It's first Anikel. So Mazel Tov. There's a guy that comes to the share every day. I think it's his first kid. It's his first kid, but the kid needs a refuah shlema. Harach Haniloid ben Bracha had brain surgery. Comes every day. His friend over there that sits in the back. So Mazel Tov to him. You should see a lot of nachas, refuah shlema. Amen. Big part of our share. Please learn and daven the refuah's dvar bas Esther. Urgently needs rachmi shomayim. Very, very young woman. Rabbi Isai, Shimi Merzel, I'm a young Avrech from Beitar who learns the Daf with you every day on the bus on the way to work. On the way there, I learned Daf from Mesechtes Menachos so that I can catch up, finish it, and keep learning more and more. On the way back, I learned the daily Daf in English. It all began when I went out to work 1 month after my wedding, after spending 2 weeks in Koil. I started working in Matzah Bakery while I was working, listened to this shit through Kol Hashem, but after some time, I fell off. That was when they were learning the beginning of Menachos. That's why I guess he's going back to Menachos. After Pesach, I found myself without a job and without a koilo. In short, I felt so bad about myself, a lay the geir, as they say in Yiddish. Then my wife and I made a decision. We bought a smartphone, installed the MDM filter on it, and left only the MDY app available. Since then, from Menachos, I've been learning the Daf with you every day, as well as catching up on the previous 97 Dafim. Ever since the opportunity was launched to take part of the MDY family Sefer Torah as a gift of appreciation to the Magachir, I wanted to participate, but I did not manage to do so until last week. This past Monday, you read out my name, and it truly felt like a kiss from Hashem. I didn't know how meaningful my contribution of 104 shekels for one word would feel, especially when you did not manage to read all the names of those who contributed $720 or more. It gave me a real sense of connection and belonging to the distinguished MDY family. It also does not work out for me to go to the viewing location because I use my bus ride to listen to shir. Okay, thank you so much, the entire MDY team, and all the minds behind the great shir, for your tremendous effort and work, which is not appreciated nearly enough. And then everyone writes, you changed my life, but in case that statement does not even come close, in my case, that statement doesn't even come close to describing what has happened. I've become a better husband, better son, better friend, much better person. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu grant you more strength to spread His holy Torah. May you merit to see children, grandchildren engage in Torah mitzvahs. Amen and amen. Shimimi Merzel. Anyway, Miami Summer Koilo by David Salomon. These boys have been coming consistently every night, 6 days a week, including fast days of Motzei Shabbos.
It is well protected. It has the food that it needs. It has
the MDY Miami Summer Koilo for everyone.
It gets hurt, it's protected from all sides.
And then in Tom's River, the old screen got ruined by a recent storm, so now they have an 85-inch screen. The shir is at 9:10, Mincha is at 8:50, Ma'ariv is 9 and 10 o'clock. The kids here, you don't have to start, it says, there's always soup. This is in Hebrew. I liked it, but maybe you could fast forward the half of it.
עם כל גברי מעולה כמו youtube.com.
רגע, למה החלטת להביא לי את אלי סטפנסקי?
Why'd you...
במעלה עם כל גברי מעולה כמו youtube.com.
רגע, למה החלטת להביא לי...
He's asking AI for a shir.
MDY.
הוא אחד הרבנים הפופולריים ביותר בדף יומי חולין, עם שיעורים יומיים מצוינים ביוטיוב, קצרים ומעמיקים. אם אתה מעדיף רב אחר כמו הרב שמואלי או אורנשטיין, תגיד לי ואחפש.
לא, אבל זה מעניין אותי למה, איך ידעת רב אלי סטפנסקי? מישהו שילם לך להגיד שזה הכי טוב?
חיפשתי במהירות באינטרנט שיעורי דף יומי חולין מרבנים גברים פופולריים ביוטיוב, והוא עלה ראשון עם אלפי צפיות יומיות.
I came up with one.
סתם תוצאה טובה.
Nobody paid me. Okay. You're driving kids from Camp Kaylee, not a minute wasted, but he's sitting on the side of the road here. Why did he take his face off? I don't know. I covered his face. Somebody uncovered it. Maybe Mark did. Rabbi, it's a very interesting thing. We spoke about scooters and helmets. And Jonathan Schwartz, famous Jonathan Schwartz, has a popular WhatsApp status thing. And in his status, he shows an accident between a car and a scooter. You know what I don't know if you could say kiss from Hashem in such a situation, but the Hashgacha Pratis, this thing happened, what I'm about to show you, in my parking lot. He's showing it in America. This happened by us. This is Galerinter's house. This is how Noam fixed. That's my building right over there with the hole. That's where I go into park. This is where Noam takes that turn to his house, the white car. And that's Avi Kamiansky's building. Right where the car is, that's Avi Kamiansky's building. That building is Eli Stefansky, and he's going towards Noam's house. Mark says it wasn't him. One more time? Here, one more time. Whose kaya is that? Do you know? Milan sich nicht tois, he says. Nobody's learning. Was the guy wearing a helmet? Yeah. It's weird that the video he's posting is a video that happened in our backyard. Here on Nachal Noam, this street right here. He's on his way home. He's with us. This guy was with us. He came with his wife too. Yeah, he's with us in Austria. He's doing the daf. Caught my colleague Mark Jacobson daffing at 2:30 p.m. in the office. I'm wondering if you have an MDY code, he can change his time too. I'm sure he has rishus. And this person is making sushi while watching the shir. He waited all day for the first shir, the shir that I gave in Hebrew when I came back from Austria. It was like in the middle of the day. Shlomo Meron from Netivat. The official edition in MDY Shas. He said he's on a roll. He's on a roll. Masechta Zevin Yal Sholof, the Perek by Yitzi Hollander. Arya, you're gonna have a lot of fun today. In today's daf, you're gonna come up with a lot of new ones. The Perek by Yitzi Hollander, Lili Nishmas Sora Tzira Bas Doiv Ber. The daf Ayin, anonymous. Rabbi Yisai, there was 20 daf left in Chullin total, and somebody, a guy from Los Angeles, picked up most of them. There might be a daf or two left. I don't know. So you can check it out, but it's great. We finished the entire Masechta, and every single daf was sold, almost. Anonymous, in honor of Mark Ashkenazi. I like this one, that somebody has a Kars HaToiv, not only to me, but to the guys that do a lot of work behind the scenes. In honor of Mark Ashkenazi, somebody just did one for Yossi Klein. In honor of Mark Ashkenazi, thank you for all you do for MDY and the people who benefit from all your hard work. Oh, you could go, Shalom Aleichem. Yesterday, I saw a picture of the shir yesterday. There was 14 empty seats on this side. Baruch Hashem, not today. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's right. It's my thing. Avi Kamiansky is not here. He's doing a bar mitzvah. The famous character of the neighborhood, Aryeh Kamiansky. I brought him up here once. He's a piece. Those who know. So he's becoming bar mitzvah. He's all serious. He has his hat, his tie, his suit. I actually taught him the part of his laning. So we'll see. It's going to be here in the Beis Medrash on Shabbos. It's a big simcha. If you want, if you're in the neighborhood, right now going on in the Kaisel, right now, 9 o'clock. In honor of Mark Ashkenazi, davening at 9 o'clock. In honor of Mark Ashkenazi, thank you for all you do. I heard a knock on the door last night. The bar mitzvah boy himself. I want to know, is Eli coming to my bar mitzvah? How's he coming? Does he have a ride? Let me give him a ride. This is a whole. You sent him? The bar mitzvah boy himself. Aha, he's giving you a shir. I get it. Okay, fine, but maybe I can get him a ride. Thank you for all you do for MDY and the people who benefit from all your hard work. David Salomon, dedicated memory of Avi Moiri. Shmuel Baruch, David, for all you do, for making the Koilel in Miami and the satellite location over there, the Masechta. The Policy Foundation in honor of MDY Latin America and their warm hospitality. Anonymous, and thank you, Chief Benny, Shmuel and Ahuva Schuster, for continuing Atzloch and Nachas from our children. Anonymous, for complete refuah Shlema and Erich's Yom Talei Bas Esther Omeid, Chaim and Louis, In honor of the MDY family. Ari Simon Fu Shlomo Avi Meir Baruch Ben Miriam Amen. Monthly spots anonymous Nishmas Yonatan Eitan Ben Mordechai Zeva Kohen Zuchron Levrocha. The Tzvi's Nishmas Yonatan Eitan Ben Mordechai Zeva Kohen Zuchron Levrocha. The Spanish year sponsors a big refuah shleima to a close friend, Naftali Hertz Ben Chaya Pesia. Strauss family. What's going on with that Spanish year? It looks like it's losing momentum. I went on YouTube. It's only like 50 views or something. Maybe it's not good enough that. Listen, when it doesn't go, it doesn't go. We're not gonna. Strauss family, Linishmas, Chaim Gabriel, Ben Ariel, Jacobson, Zuchron Levrocha on his P'tir Friday. Yudches Tammuz and Shom should have an Aliyah. The West Hempstead MDY Chevra, another one. Linishmas, Yonatan Eitan, Ben Mordechai Zevach Kohen, Zuchron Levrocha. We mourn the loss of a beloved son of our Kehillah, a very, very popular person. Everybody loved him. Hundreds and hundreds of people by his Levaya. The Muncie MDY firefighters, another very beloved person. Lili Nishmas, our unforgettable chief, Chaim Gabriel Ben Aryeh Yoel Jacobson, Zechron Levrocha, two people on the same thing, both in very, very young. 50 and 40 something. Huh? 46. Another one was Yonatan. 51. Crazy. In honor of the MDY League, the consortium. In honor of the MDY League and all the official non-corporate sponsors. By Yaakov Chaim Pilchik, Bam Gehat Amedele, Adheina Zurura Chamecho, Vatachera Hashem Lo Netzach, Mazel Tov. Wow, Mazel Tov. Another Simcha. MDY Art, month, the first name of Mordechai Ben Esther, the first Ayelet, Daniel Zev Ben Ayelet Esther. Only by the Mishnah. Oh, get him on Zoom. He's on Zoom with the baby. Got him? You able to pull him up? You don't see anybody on Zoom with the baby. He's there. He's there on Zoom with the baby. We're holding by the Mishnah Daf Samach Tes Amud Beis. Shalom Aleichem, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Wow, this might be the first time. This is with the baby in the hospital. And in case you thought that it's not real, we got a glimpse of his wife in the background. Givaldik live, you never know. What? Givaldik. Listen, it's Mamash Hashgacha Pratis because I want to talk about that. It's actually a whole sugya that we're talking about Ubarim today and the babies, but it's Mamash Negia. Today, we're going to come across one of the most bizarre, two of the most bizarre cases in all of Shas. They're so bizarre that Tosfos brings them down as a proof that cases, people will say, how's it possible this and this is going to happen? A lot of cases in Shas. It's impossible. So Tosfos brings this sugya down as a raya that doesn't have to happen. It's an interesting case. It's a case that will never happen and could never happen. Lahagdol Torah Lahad is exactly Tosfos' lashon. And the Achronim use the lashon of Drosh v'Kabel Schar. And we're going to see. But you know what's super interesting? I think that some of these cases were not possible in the time of the Rishonim. Maybe nowadays they're possible. So let's see. But we're continuing with the scratching of the head. Says the Mishnah. There's an animal who's giving birth, but's having difficulty giving birth. You see, mamish. We start off this year with somebody in the hospital. Every woman has difficulty giving birth. It's Hakadosh Baruch Hu said so for women. But we have an animal. It's an oisnam. It's not all the time, but so the owner had a moyer dikachap. What if I help out the animal? I chop off the feet of the fetus as they come out. Maybe it'll help. Now, we're talking about a bechar. This is a bechar. The famous pasuk called a bechar asher yivaled. A bechar has a kedusha. It's a special thing. You can't just chop off legs. You can't just throw them to the dog. It has a kedusha. It's a bechar. But this, the first leg that comes out is not a bechar. The Kodesh Merechem, like they say on Rebbe's, he's a Kodesh Merechem. What does it mean, Kodesh Merechem? From the moment he was born, came out to the world. It says in the pasuk, Kadesh li kol bechar, Peter kol rechem. It has to be Peter rechem. Today, some of the questions that we're going to ask, and these are from the less bizarre. But what if there's no rechem? What if the rechem falls out? the womb, the walls of the womb, what if it doesn't touch the walls of the womb? It was able to come out without touching. Let's say today, use some sort of device, what do they call some sort of forceps, there's a better word for it. Okay, forceps.
Like a clips.
Some piece of metal or a plastic bag. You wrap the baby or the animal in a plastic bag before it comes out for whatever reason. It shouldn't get some sort of infection. I don't know what. You wrap it in a plastic bag and it comes out in a plastic bag. Is that so? But that's peterechim. It has to come out through the womb. If it comes out through Yotze Doivrin, through cesarean, not Kaddish. What if it comes out foot by foot? So the Mishnah says, Mechatich aver, as he cuts off a foot and then a leg, umashlich leklavim. There's no kedusha yet, so you could toss it to the dogs. Let the dogs eat it. If it had any kedusha whatsoever, it was a bechar. Can't throw a bechar to a dog. What do? Like the next part of the Mishnah, Yatsa Rubai, if most of it came out, and I want to add a word here, came out together in one shot, Harezi cover, you must bury this bechar. V'nifteres min ha-bechayra. And if this animal gives birth to a firstborn, most of it came out normally, you put it in a grave, and that animal, the next offspring, even though it wasn't viable, didn't live, the next one is not a bechar. We could start off the shear with a milsa de b'dichusa. It's not a heavy sugya at all, but this could help our mood. It's not funny yet. Wait, he's already laughing. Kaddish Merechim. Hello.
שלום וברוך, מדבר כאן מנכ"ל מוזס קודש מלחם. אני פונה לך כי אנחנו חייבים את התרומות שלך להמשיך את הפעילות של המוסדות של הקודש מלחם הקדוש. Stop! But recently I have a refade of love.
It's not a joke because it's based on a real story. There's a horse that was buried here. I'm next to Bet Shemesh. They buried a horse, and people are mesupik now. If it's a tana or a horse, they don't know. But in Suffolk, they go there. Seriously. What? Somebody gave him a top 5 for that? That's top 5? Really? Wow. This is what you get when he has 2 weeks off. This is what happens. Yeah. All right, talk to Gemara. I'm not going to see that lately. You're enjoying them more and more.
Lately?
I don't think they're better. I think you're just relaxing more. Yeah.
You went away for 2 weeks. I'm very relaxed.
Yeah. All right. Before we start the Gemara, I have to say Shalom Aleichem, 2 very, very choshev guests. I have no idea where they are. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name?
Zeddy Weiss.
From?
Tom's River.
Ooh, you ever go to that place?
Boy, we just moved to Tom's River.
Did you go to this location ever? Check it out?
No, I do it.
Why don't you go visit once in a while?
I go once in a while.
Oh, chizik once in a while. Yishkoyach. Good. And you?
Jonathan Grandson.
From? Lakewood.
My brother-in-law.
Ah, when are you going to move to Tom's River? Shalom Aleichem. Okay, great. Who else wants to say Shalom Aleichem? Anybody else? What's your name? From? Oh, you're Dr. Schuster's son. Gewaldig. Sorry, now you moved over to that side. It's a whole different... Shalom Aleichem. Venach, you guys are new? You're new? No, you're for sure not new, but you, I thought maybe. Okay. Back row. Who's in the back row? All the way. Oh, the guy that walked in. Yeah, what's your name? From? Monsey. Because it's the same chevra over and over. Monsey, Lakewood. Once in a while, we get a guy from... who? Oh, maybe get a new one. What's your name? From? Something nice, new, something different. Morocco. No? Where?
Staten Island, New York.
Not bad.
And now RBS.
Oh. Shalom Aleichem, welcome. You have kids and everything? This guy, how old are you?
14.
You speak Hebrew?
Not really.
You gonna start? When did you guys move? How long ago?
Just last night.
For real? Wow, what? Was that another son? No. Who's your brother-in-law? Really? He told me, wow. So now we can schmooze through you. We'll do all the schmoozing. Two famous guys. I didn't know. So it's not guys that so Yonah Rothman was on an email or something the other day, and you. Okay, got it. Wow. So you jet lag and everything. You come to this year. Unbelievable. Have a nice day. Yeah, I see him. What's your name? Akiva. Shalom Aleichem. You're excited to move here?
Yeah.
It's best. You move before the summer. You go on Tiyulim. It's all nice, rosy and gishmak. Go up north. This Rashid. Go on a camel. It's Eretz Yisrael, it's Gishmak, and then also, I don't speak the language, you better learn Hebrew, quickly. All right. Zok the Gemara. Oyitmar. Yotza Shlishim Mechar Legoy. If this is, it's the first year, and they're coming in the most, I don't know how to describe these cases that we're going to have. It's like, what happened? Okay, but Itmar, Yotza Shlishim Mechar Legoy. First sugya, about a 15-line sugya, is the question of when does the Bechar start? Does the Bechar start the moment he starts being born, or once most of it came out? And it's a big nafkamina, because what happens if Yotza Shlishu Mechar Legoy, a third of the animal came out? Now, if there's a goy partner, this is what people do today. They have thousands of animals. They don't want to give every firstborn to a kohen, so they get a goy partner. Get a partner, then you don't have to give a Bechar. What does this chacham do? He forgot to do it. His wife warned him he should better get a partner guy. He didn't. And then all of a sudden the animal starts giving birth. So he runs and he gets a guy and he makes a partnership. But a third came out already. Is that third that he sold to the guy, is it valid? Because if the Bechar starts immediately, once it starts being born, then you can't sell to the guy. It was not a valid Mechira. But if it starts at a different time, starts later on, so whatever he sold was good. So we have a machlokes, of course. Yotza shlish umachar legoy. 1/3 came out and he sold the guy. V'chaz of yotza shlish acher. And then the second third came out, which makes it the majority a roiv birth. Ravuna Amar Kadosh, it works. Rabbi Amar in Kadosh, it does not work. The Kadosh means the sale does not work, and therefore the Bechar is, it's a Bechar is Kadosh. Rabbi Amar in Kadosh, the sale worked. And Memela, there's no Kedusha. Ravuna says it's Kadosh, the sale did not work. Rabbi says the sale did work, and any Kadosh. Ravuna Amar Kadosh, Kosav Alamafreya Kadosh. Ravuna says that the sale did not work. Why? Because right away when it started being born, we find out, when 2/3 come out, we find out that retroactively, the first third was also Kaddish. You had no right to sell it at that point to the guy. You can't sell a b'char to a guy. Once it's born, you can't sell it. V'kivin the nafak le'rubei, once 2/3 came out, igloi milslam afredimi kar, or 51%, igloi milslam afredimi kar have a Kaddish. Then we find out now, retroactively, that it was completely Kaddish. Umay the zaben lo'klum zaben, and whatever he sold was nothing. Rabbi Amar Nekadosh, Rabbi says there's no kedusha. In other words, the sale was valid. Kosabar mikan ulahaba kadosh. From here on out, it is kadosh. Umay de zabin, shapir zabin, whatever he sold is great. Va'azal tamayu, and they go according to their own reasoning. They have a very, very similar machlokes, and the Gemara is going to want to understand why did they have to argue twice on the same exact idea and concept. So here comes scratching your head number one. Di'itmar. Yotza shlish derech doifen. If an animal 1/3 was born through a C-section, ushnei shlish derech rechem, the other 2/3 were born naturally. What in the world? How did it happen? No clue. But I do have a video to show you how it might have happened. This is musach, and in Hebrew, musach means garage to fix cars. Here, the animal came derech doifing through a C-section. And of course, you have to chop off that part, yeah? There's no other way. Then the other part came out. And now, for whatever reason, he's welding them together. That's not what it says in the Gemara, but okay. So now the sugi is understood. 1/3 came out cesarean, the 2/3 came out natural. And you had to cut one part off. Although some Rishonim say no, they cut from the cesarean all the way to natural. Okay, whatever it is. Ravuna Amar Eina Kadosh, Rabba Amar Kadosh. Ravuna says there's no Kedusha. Why? Because the first 2/3 that came out, one of them was a Yotze Daifen. It was you start from all the way in the beginning. You go retroactive. Ravuna Amar Eina Kadosh. There's no Kedusha because we have to cast. Sorry. The one Rav Huna says Eina Kadosh. Why? Because we go backwards to where it started. And it started as a Yotze Daifen, as a cesarean. Cesarean is not a Bechar. So there's no Kedusha. When you say Kadosh, because I don't care about the first third, that we're going to ignore. We're going to do the last 2/3, and that was a natural birth, so it's a good Bechar. Just, if you pay attention, and I'm going to show it to you in a second, they're saying the same svara, but it comes out at opposite halacha in both cases, and I'll explain. Ravuna holds that you go lemafrei, start from the beginning of the birth, and the first part was not from the womb; it was from cesarean. Rabbi Amar Kadosh, and Rabbi says there is kedusha. Rabbi Tameid Amar Mikanu La'aba Kadosh. You start from here on out. V'ruba derech rechem nafak, and there's 2/3 that came out naturally. U'tzricha. So let me show you this. Make it very simple. We have two cases. We have the case of selling 1/3 of the animal as it's born to a goy. And we have case number 2, is that 1/3 of the animal came out with a cesarean. Now, if you say the mikan ulahaba, that when you sell to a goy 1/3, okay, it was a great sale, and you start from here on out to the last 2/3, that's the birth. That means we have a kula over here. If we're going to start from here on out and ignore the first part, this animal is not going to be a bechar. If it's not a bechar, it's a kula. It's green. It's good. It's good for the owner. He doesn't have to give away a bechar. Why? Because the first part that came out was sold to a guy. It was a valid sale. If I say it works, the sale works, that makes it a kula. But I'm using the logic of mikanu lahaba. Whatever I did in the beginning works, and that means it's sold to a guy. So in this case, because I sold to a guy, it turns out to be a kula. But if I use the same exact logic, when there's a cesarean, it comes out of chumrah. Why? Because I'm going to say that whatever came out with the cesarean is nothing. I'm going to focus from here on out. I don't care what I did before, yeah? I'm doing tshuva today. I was a big Rashi yesterday. Today is from here on out. Because Baruch cares about from today. Today on was a valid birth of a bechar. So it's a real bechar. Using the same logic, all of a sudden I have a bechar. On the first case, using the same logic, I don't have a bechar because I sold to a guy. So one time it's a kula, one time it's a chumrah. So the Gemara says, I would think that perhaps the Manda Omer holds only to be machmer. I want to be machmer myself. So I use the logic of Mekana Laba. But when that logic of Mekana Laba makes it a kula, makes it green, he's not going to use that logic. So maybe I need both cases. When he sells to a guy, the case on the right, Ravuna uses the other logic. That he says, Lemafreya, it works from the beginning. Why? Mishum dilakula. Because Mikanu lahaba, just to explain the words, Mishum dilakula is, you have to add a few things in parentheses. Because the logic of Mikanu lahaba is a kula. So he's going to use the logic of chumrah. What's the logic of chumrah in this case? Lemafreya. Avabahach, but in the second case of Yatza, Shlish Medoifen, which is 1/3 was born in the garage over there, in a cesarean, that when you use Mikano Lahaba, it actually turns into Chumrah, and maybe he will use the logic of Mikano Lahaba. And and then we just do the reverse, and then we have a new sugya. And he just as the case of Shlish Doifen, like the one on the left, that's why Rabbah uses it, because it's a Chumrah, it's red. But in the case on the right, where it's green, that logic is green, it's a kula. Maybe he'll agree that you don't use that logic, use the logic of the mafreya, which makes it a chumrah. Okay. Tanam, but we learned in our Mishnah we just read that what? If an animal is trying to give birth and having a tough time, you cut off every leg as it comes out and you throw it to the dogs. You can pile it up. You don't have to, it's a process. It's going to take him 2 hours. One leg comes out, cut it. You don't have to run to the dog and give it to him. Put it on a pile. When you have a bunch of legs, then you take them all and give it to the dog. But if the Kedusha goes retroactive, it works retroactively, you cover him in Bailey. How come he doesn't have to bury it? Like the guy buried the Kaddish Merechem over there. If he has a certain amount and you find out later that this is a Bechar, doesn't a Bechar require burying? If you don't know that it's a Bechar, you had one leg, it's not a Bechar, it doesn't have the Kedusha of the Bechar, not that you don't know. It doesn't have the Kedusha of the Bechar, so you gave it to the dog. But now that you have a significant amount, and you're using retroactive over here, and retroactively you find out that this was a Bechar, you have to bury it. So Gemara tries to say, we're talking about a case where he never left it, not that no, but this is the pshat. He never had enough that was going to cause a problem, because every time he cut a leg, he gave it to the dog. No, but what if he didn't? What if he didn't give it right away to the dog? He had a pile of legs and feet. So he has to bury it? Of course, he has to bury it. So how come it doesn't say it in the Mishnah? Say a more ridiculous case, 2 cases. One case, as I'm cutting, I give to the dog, but if I leave a nice significant pile, I can't give it to the dog, I have to bury it. The Mishnah doesn't say that. The Mishnah says, and if most of it was born in one shot, then you have to bury it. I have a much better chiddush. The same exact case that you said that you could give to the dogs, that's only if you give it to the dog piece by piece by piece. But if you have a pile of legs, you can't give it to the dog, it's too late. It has Kedusha now. That pile becomes Kaddish retroactively and you have to bury it. Why does it, what? That's literally the words. Why do we jump to a different case? What's the case that the Mishnah says that you have to bury? Like we saw in the video, guy's holding an entire whole cow and he has to bury it. That shouldn't be the case. I have a much better case within our case. Live like listening to the dog. In the same case that a person is cutting off limbs, there's a case that you can give it to the dogs, and there's a case you can't give it to the dog. Much bigger chiddush. When could you give it to the dog? When you're giving it piece by piece, piecemeal. But if you pile it up and then retroactively it becomes kadosh, then you have to bury it. Says the Gemara, it's such a good kasha that Hachinami comment. That's exactly what it says in the Mishnah. It just says it in different words. When are you allowed to give it to the dog when you do it piecemeal, piece by piece? This is what the Mishnah means. But when you pile it up, and Rashi says it's tremendous doichak. I don't like it. Some Rishonim say that it's not a doichak. According to Rashi, he says this is too hard to believe that that's what the Mishnah meant. But if you cut it up and you leave it there, that's why it says the next case that, if most of it came out, you have to bury it, meaning, not that if most of it came out, if you keep the same case of piecemeal, but you didn't give it to the dog, it's piece by piece by piece, and it pile up, then you have to bury it. All right, Rabbi Isai, here goes a bunch of kashas, gishmakas stuff, really good stuff. This particular one, if we didn't have a chart, it would be hard in the words, but we have a gewaltige chart, it's very, very easy. When you have an entire animal, do we view the animal as the majority, and we don't care about each limb and each organ, or we have to care about organs and limbs? What does that mean? Hey Chidami, what's the case? So we have basically only 2 cases. Here's an animal that was born. Here, boom, it's being born, boom. Now, take a look over here. 51% of this animal was born, 49% of this animal was not born. Is this animal born or not born halachically? L'chayre, yes. But if you take a look, its leg is still inside its mother. What's poking out? One tiny piece of the leg on the right side. You see that little leg? It's a miut of the leg. Now, in the Torah, in halacha, you go by the Rav. You go, where's the majority of the front foot? Inside this building, not outside. You guys already learned the sugya. Okay, that's fine. But you might be disturbing other people over there, including the Maggid Shir. Nachamal. 51% is outside, 49% is inside. But if I take into account just the front foot, the purple, 90% of it is inside the animal. So shouldn't it draw halachically the hoof back into the animal? And then what's going to happen? Take a look. If you draw halachically the hoof back in, then now all of a sudden you only have 49% that came out. Excuse me. And 51% out. So do we view each aver by itself, or do we view the animal? The little part that's outside here, this part. You see the little tiny part of the hoof that's outside. Do we view it as if it's part of the larger front foot, the right front foot? And therefore what? The right front foot is inside, not outside, and therefore it changes the majority of birth. It's no longer born, so this animal wasn't born yet. Or do we go with the majority of the entire animal, like Benny asked me last night? So when you have a roiv animal out, so you have to look at the lung and say, oh, the lung is 90% in, only 10% out, so now you don't have a lung, and now you have a this. So somebody said, no, we're only looking at whatever you could see. Okay. Extremities. Says Gemara, that's not a question. When you're talking about an entire being, you're not going to go and break down limbs. We're looking at the majority of this animal. 51% is out, like in this picture. I can't start looking, but from the foot, it's only 10% of the foot, which is, no, we're looking at the whole animal in its whole, and in this case, it's 51% out. This animal is considered born. So what is the question? Beautiful, check this out. Let me show it to you about peh. Here's an animal. Only 50% of the animal was born. 50-50, equal. Now take a look at its foot, its front left foot. 90% is outside, 10% is inside. Now if I use the roiv, it was born, because now I'm going to move it. I'm going to move the leg. The entire leg comes outside, halachically. Why? Because 90% is already outside. The little part that's inside, let it be as if it was outside. If it's outside, now I have 51%. In Mitzias, in the physical world, only 50% of this animal is born. But if I use the halacha of roiv, I can make 51% born. How? By taking the hoof that's stuck inside and bringing it outside halachically. Does that work? Only half the animal is born by using 90% of the front left leg. Roiv aver. And the question is, this little hoof that stayed inside the animal, I got to give it to our artist that worked very hard to make it in a way that you could explain it to children, to people that are very sensitive. They did a very good job here. A lot of chachma goes into this. It's not pashut. So do we take that small part that's left inside and pretend that it's outside? Now you have 51% like in this picture. Toshma. I can bring a ray, yotza rubai, harezi cover. It says in the Mishnah, if most of the animal was born in one shot, you bury it. My rubai, ilam rubai mamish. If you tell me that most of the animal came out, what's the chiddush? The entire shas tells us the halachas of roiv. I need that same halacha all over again. How many times have we had in Shas that we go by the majority? Can't be that the Mishnah is repeating that halacha. Elalav must be that we're telling us a chiddush. That it's talking exactly about this case. It was 50-50 with the majority of the left front leg. And we considered it a real birth. Loi. It's not this case, rather it's this case. What's the first case? Yeah, this one. You have 51% only with the hoof. And the chiddush is, like you said before, that we don't consider the most of the leg that's remained inside. This is considered a good birth, a 51% birth. We're talking about chatzitza now. The Torah says, let's go back to the pasuk. The Torah says, Peter kol rechem, that an animal, in order to be a bechar, kazli kol bechar, has to come out of the womb. What if it came out in a plastic bag? Kroche b'siv ma'u, you wrapped it in some sort of leaf, the palm leaf. They take out these words, but talisei ma'u, because it's mamish the same exact question. In other words, a plastic bag. We have this today. B'shul yasei ma'u, a natural bag called amniotic sac. So he says, what do you mean? B'shul yasei urchiu. That's how an animal's born, in the sack. No. Ela b'shul yacheres. You took a plastic bag from your cabinet, or you took a sack from another animal. What if a woman who's helping this animal give birth, she used her hands, so her hands create a chatzitza. The animal's not touching the walls of the womb. Taisa says a phenomenal thing here. He says it's not talking about a woman, it's talking about his sister. The animal had a twin sister, and the twin sister wrapped herself around her brother, and the brother came out without touching the walls of the womb because the chatzitza was caused by another animal. So he goes through because he doesn't like Rashi's pshat. Hey chidami. So what's going on here? Before this woman touched, there had to be a beginning of a birth. If the head came out first and the woman didn't touch it, patarti, then that is the birth. We learned yesterday that the birth of a head is a birth. It came out feet first. Says Gemara, here goes the most interesting question in all of Shas. Bla'atu chulda v'yitziatu ma'u. A weasel or a rat goes into the animal, swallows the fetus completely, and walks right out. So now the fetus never touched, never went through the womb. V'yitziatu. So what's the question, B'chlal? It gets more interesting. If that's what happened, ha'apikte, so it never was born. You're right. It shouldn't be. It's not considered peter rechem. Oh, so here goes the question. Rabbi say, get ready. Elo balatu v'yitziatu. This chulda, this animal, went in, swallowed the fetus whole. Vichnisatu v'kiatu. Then it had charata. Somebody gave him musar. He says, okay, v'heishiv v'sagzela. Let me go. Put it right back where I got it. He went out. The animal's outside of the mother, went back into the mother, spit him up in there, and then the mother gave birth. If you want to know how a weasel or a rat, right, a chulda is a rat in Hebrew, how it ate the baby, put the baby back in, here we go. It's a mouse. Went out, or went back in, deposited back. Then was born. Then took in a coma. So Taisus and Ksubas Daf Daled brings this as the most bizarre. He doesn't say the most bizarre. He says, listen, sometimes in Shas you'll see things that don't make any sense, and it's there for you to learn Torah. I want to ask you something, and I didn't see anybody even talk about this. I don't view it like that. I view it as the Gemara asks a question, and 2,000 years later, this is a possibility. Why can't we have a surgery where a doctor opens up the animal, pulls the fetus out, does surgery? They do it all the time now. They do surgery to babies all the time in utero, and they can also do it outside. Cut open, pull it out, fix the spine, push it right back in, and now we have a shayla. And then it was born naturally. Why not? You tell me it's the craziest thing ever. It's not so crazy. This case is not brought down in Shulchan Aruch, but maybe we could apply something from this Gemara to reality, today's reality. No, I didn't see anybody even talk about it.
It's crazy. This case
No, I'm saying, yeah, because they didn't have that day. The point of these cases, the point of all these crazy cases that we have in Shas, my point is, we're giving us Gdarim. It's to give us Gdarim. Not in this case, you're right. Taisa is saying it never happened in the world, this case, and the next case coming up. Never happened. But perhaps it could apply. Even the next case now I'm thinking, it could apply today. How?
If Yotza Meila, what's the problem? Why shouldn't it be Kodesh Merachem? It's Yotza Meila.
No, but it was already born. It was born. No.
What's the definition of born?
What is the definition of born? Maybe this particular animal was born once. 3 days ago it was born. Just because it was born again? Here, let me give you another case, similar. Listen to this. Hidbik shtei rechamim v'yotza mizeh v'nichnas lezeh. Another case that Tosfos brings as a raya that, Rabbi Isa, here we go, Avi. Somebody's tired in the background over there, but that's the Chosan Bar Mitzvah right over here. This guy, look at him. That's him. Okay. And what is he wearing, Rabbi Isa? What is he wearing? Twillery, of course. You can see. Spicy. Rabbi Isa, listen to this. So I don't know if this is okay, but I brought, the artist didn't do this. I threw this in because I thought it's mamish tzugapas to this sugya. We had it mamish 3 days ago. This is rechem lerechem. If Pasha moved from one womb to the other, so what's the shaila? But Rabbi say, pay attention, this case, there was 100%, not this one, there's 100% birth on the left one. The Gemara doesn't even ask that. That is a birth. It came out of the womb. But it inserted itself in womb number 2 and then it came out. Could it be a b'char for the second animal? The first animal is pashat, it was a birth through a womb. It left the one on the left. What are you looking at me, Mendy? That's what the Gemara says in Mefurish. Look at this. Two wombs attached to each other. Didei Patar, the first one. Didei Patar, his real mother. She's Patar, she already gave birth. The Lav Didei Loi Patar, and the one on the right, it's not his mother. Not. Or the Lav Didei Nami Patar. Maybe one animal could pater 2 different animals. So today, I was just thinking this aloud. Today, you could maybe transfer a pregnancy. You have
surrogate. They take it out,
yeah.
the mother dies and puts it in another womb.
I don't know that that's possible, that ever happened, but they have a surrogate mother. Today they have the Muslim of surrogate. Okay, we don't have this exact case yet, but perhaps we start thinking, it's 2026. They do crazy things with medicine. Teiku. Does the animal have to touch the actual womb? What if it widened up and the animal pops out without touching anything? Is it the ear space? And then there's a pet rechem. Or it has to touch the rechem and there isn't. All these are cases that don't ask me. Some of them I don't understand completely or at all. I'm saying it. But we're trying to learn here. What if the actual walls of the womb were cut out? Nekru, they're gone. Nekru, holesno, what's the shaila? There's not a b'char. There has to be walls of the womb. Elo nekru v'tolei b'tzavari ma'i. So Yoshi did a whole beautiful thing here for the sugya. I'm not going to show you the whole thing yet, because I don't want to ruin it. But let's say these are the walls of the womb, right here, the blue. And it went from this to this. Okay? That's what the Gemara says. V'tolei b'tzavare. The wall, it was wrapped around like a scarf around its neck. Do the blue walls, if they're in their natural place, then they give kedusha to the b'char. Wrapped around the shoulders, nothing. Perhaps it doesn't give kedusha. The bottom line, there's a wall there. So here, this is what he did it for. If you have this, and check this out, the blue disappears. Now you're touching something that we asked the question. The where do we have the sugya of boy say in Sukkah? Where else? Erev. And where else? In Klayim. In Nichas Klayim, parts Merubah with the graves and this. Fine. But the idea is there that what? V'yotza derech parts. Look at this. Part of the wall is missing, and he came out through the part that's missing. But there's walls of the rechem. They're still there. Or parts, that's oimed meruba, most of the walls are intact, 90% are intact, part not. But here's the opposite case. Parts meruba oimed, most of the walls are not intact, they're gone. And where did he come out of? He went out through the part that's still standing. So the Gemara says, I'll tell you, in both of these cases, take a look, there's still walls standing. This walls are standing, here are walls standing, but there's walls. But in this case, where the blue is gone completely, that we never had a shaila, of course, it's not a bechar. Now, much easier stuff, Daf Ayin Omud Beis. Turning of the Daf is sponsored by Adar Global, the official non-corporate sponsor of the MDY League, Encore Healthcare, as a source for all of Klal Yisrael. Gotta say, I want to throw this out real quickly. I know it's kind of late, but I was very, very inspired yesterday by this Chosheva Yid that was sitting next to me, Elio Berger. First time that somebody made a siyum, first of all, it was very inspiring, Stam, that he made a siyum, he stuck it out from beginning to end. A lot of people fall off after 4 years, 5 years, it's normal. But he made massive changes in his life. He does chazara, I'm not going to go into all of it. Just mixas should be mixas, because he doesn't want me to talk about it. But so, chizuk that he gave me and Avi, and Noam, we made a little siyum. First time ever in my life that I did it. So hopefully not too many like that. You can't do breakfasts for people. But he does zichru, and we asked him questions from Saita. He says, Daf Gimel talks about these three things, right? Levi, where's Levi? He left already. So we said we want to do it also. We're going to start. It's interesting because it's to take a sugya, put a picture to it, the zichru program. I tried it once and it didn't work, but now he's going to help me out. And then get 3 musagim from every daf. 3 musagim that you tie it to a picture. So a picture you can recall much later. There's a, yeah. All right, says the Mishnah. We have an animal who's pregnant and the fetus died. So let's go through this Rabbi side, let's do it again, real quickly. We got to get clear with this. There's a bilbul. There's something called Shmoynish Ratzim. People were talking to me after Shir yesterday. After I said the whole thing, they came over to me with questions, new guys. Hopefully, most of us know this, but let's do Chazara. Something called Shmoynish Ratzim, they give off Tumah. So people get confused. Oh, they give off Tumah, so other things don't give off Tumah. It's not true, it's the exact opposite. Every animal in the world gives off Tumah when they die, including kosher animals. So a dead sheep that wasn't shechted gives off Tumah. A dead cow that wasn't shechted gives off Tumah. A dead horse, Tumah. Dead dog, Tumah. Dead cat, Tameh. A shechted sheep, a shechted cow don't give off tumah because the shechita works. Dead pig, tameh. Dead horse, tameh. Dead snake, not tameh. Not tameh. Not tameh, not tameh. That's why you got to do Daf Yomi, Rabbi. Why? Because the snake is a sheret. And only the 8 shrotzim are metamel, not the 9th and the 10th. That's the thing. Okay. But that's not going to get to us 100%, a little bit. So it says like this, what if you have an animal that's dead, a dead animal is tameh. So the shepherd stuck his hand into the animal's body and touched the dead animal. Tameh or not? No. You know why? Because what if you shech the mother? Are you allowed to eat the dead animal? It was dead. It was dead inside. Are you allowed to eat it? Yeah. Yes, it's still a ben pekua. So memela, if you're allowed to eat it, it's not tameh. And the shepherd stuck his hand in and touched it, and he should be tameh. No, Noam, I asked the question, and only your son knew the answer. And I told him, I'm going to ask you and see, I'll give you nachas. Why is it called behema tmeya and not a behema asura? Why tumah? Why tumah by a behema? Why do we call it a behema she'inena tahira? It's not tahir, it's tameh. What is? Why? Huh? Who? Okay, which one? Why is a lion called a behemoth tmeya, a chaya tmeya?
Supposed to work.
As a chaya asura, asur. Why tum and tahara? So he said beautifully, and I believe that's the right answer. He said because kosher animal you can make it tahar. There's a way to make it tahar through shchita. A behemoth tmeya means it's an animal. There's no way in the world you can ever make it be'etzem. It's always tummy, and a knife and a shchita won't make it tar. So in Mela, and it's negeh to us. If a shepherd touches a dead fetus, It depends. If the animal is a cow, tar. If the animal is a pig, is a donkey, tummy. Listen to this, Noam, before you go. Listen to this. Get back here for a second. A guy is stuck in the desert. I know you got to go. A guy is stuck in the desert. He's starving. And his two options. A donkey or a pig. Which one should he eat? Now, the word pig, I went to Chassidish Chadarim. A pig is the worst thing you could even say or do or think about. You could have in your house a doll, a play horse. You can't have a play. Nobody has a pig. So I'm asking you a question. You have a horse in front of you, you have a pig. What should you eat? The Ramban says you should eat a pig. Why? Because it has one kosher simon. One kosher simon. And hitainas. I'll tell you why. Hitainas that you're over on every simon it doesn't have. Wow. That's what he says. He holds that if you eat a horse, the over does not mafres parsa, and it's not malageri, you get two averas. It's not the Gemara. My time is the Tanakama. Why does Tanakama hold that if you touch a behemoth tmeya in euro, the fetus that's dead, you're not tamei? If this dead fetus you're allowed to eat later after you shech the mother, so certainly the shechita should get rid of the nevela part. It's not a nevela. That's very good. If it's a kosher animal, they do shechita. How do you know? Oh, behema. Oh, makro. V'chiyomas min ha-behema zu behema tmeya. It says in the same pasuk. V'chiyomas min ha-behema, I put it in red because that's talking about a behema tmeya. Ashir lachem la'achla. What could you eat? You could eat kosher animals. But the part before that, v'chiyomas min ha-behema, is talking about the non-kosher animal. So that gives us a hekesh. It's the same pasuk. We can learn one from the other. V'chiyomas min ha-behema zu behema tmeya. Ashir lachem la'achla zu behema ta'ira. Itkash behema tmeya le'behema ta'ira. So I learn one from the other. That what? You just told me. We said already, we established that a tar animal, if you touch the fetus, you're tar. So too, with a non-kosher animal. Why does Rabbi Yossi say that only on a non-kosher animal it's tamei? So he learns from a pasuk. Anybody that walks on its paws, in other words, a non-kosher animal, that what? So if they were live, they're tamei. So too, when they're a dead fetus, they are tamei, they're nevela. Ask the Gemara, Elama'ata kolut b'mei para. The famous, this guy, or he did better. This guy as a fetus. In other words, his feet are not split. He doesn't have split hooves. He just have those two toes, but they're not split. We already established that this guy, this camel-looking animal that doesn't have split hooves, is kosher when it's a fetus. It should be tamei according to what you said. Why? He has paws. He doesn't have split hooves. So he should be also to eat. So the Gemara, when did I say that it's also when he's inside an animal that has 4 feet? But guess what? A cow is actually a 4x4 or 4x8, whatever you want to call it. Every one of its feet is split. So he has 8 legs, not 4. So it's different. That's why he's mutter. So, okay, so I'll roll with that, but the problem is, what about this case? If you have a camel that has a para inside of it, para b'mei gamol, according to what you just told me, it shouldn't be tamei, but it is. It's a non-kosher animal. Yes, it looks like a cow, but it's a non-kosher animal. Because he's walking 8 inside of 4. And you said only a 4x4, not a 8x4. Says Gemara, hoylech v'chol hoylech l'rabbeis para b'mei gamol. Okay, you're right. You have an extra pasuk that tells us that this case, that a cow is inside a camel, that is a problem. What if you have 2 kosher animals, but their feet are no good? In other words, it's a genetic defect. The mother she's not mafres parasa, so her baby's also not mafres parasa. So it should be a problem. That's what we had before. Rav Chizda said the Kavachomer that if you're allowed to eat the baby, so certainly there's no tum on the baby. Okay, so you know what? We'll just stop over here. Boy, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.